Once an Olympian, you're always an Olympian. But staying in Olympic shape, that is not a given. This week on the Dying to Ask podcast, we're catching up with free skiing pioneer Jonny Moseley about how he approaches health and fitness decades after he won gold in moguls at the 1998 Winter Olympics. We're looking at the role restorative and mobility exercises play in staying fit, even if you once won gold in the Olympics. A funny, not funny story about an injury he got shooting a promo for the U.S. Freestyle Nationals, and how Jonny Moseley uses ChatGPT, for real, to keep an athletic edge as he ages. Also some advice for any athlete lucky enough to make next year's Olympic team about being in the moment. Download Dying to Ask on Apple or Spotify, or you can watch my episode with Jonny Moseley right here. Hey, Jonny, how are you doing?
Great. Hi, Deirdre.
It's nice to see you. So it's that usual time, like a year before the Olympics, when I start hounding all you guys. Over 20 years now, you probably know to expect the call. But
yeah, sorry I couldn't do your year out thing.
It's all good. It's all good. I came back 2 weeks later, and here we are. Yeah. So, we've got a huge event that's coming into Palisades Tahoe in the Lake Tahoe area. We've got nationals of your event coming in. Talk a little bit about what is the significance of this event coming to a local resort?
Well, it's an incredible moment for the young athletes that make it, that are able to get a spot to nationals, to have the opportunity to get exposed to the World Cup skiers, the skiers that are already established, and see where they sit, with the potential to possibly get a spot on the World Cup, right? And that's the name of the game. You're trying to claw your way into the lowest level of the ski team, to the NORAM, to get a spot to a NORAM, get a spot to a World Cup, where all the magic is made, right? That's where you can qualify for the Olympics. And there's the outside remote possibility that an athlete like a Bo Rolling from Squaw, from Palisades, could knock it out of the park at nationals, get to World Cup in the fall, and make it to the Olympics. So that possibility is there. And then so as far as what it does for the community, I mean, remember when I wasn't even competing, and when I was 12 years old, nationals came to town. I got to forerun, but it was the first time I saw.
What does forerun mean?
Oh, forerun means they always need to warm up the judges. So the judges,
really?
need to see how the course is doing. In racing, they do it to test the timing. So they usually send a few local athletes down to sort of make sure everything's working correctly.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of an honor. Usually it's the top kid in that region, or a young kid, or someone who didn't qualify, right? Someone who almost made it to nationals but didn't. It gives you some exposure to, because when you're a competitor, it almost feels like you're competing. You're in the gate.
Yeah.
National setup, the banners are there, the cameras are on. So it's your first exposure to a big event. So I got that honor when I was 12, and that was what inspired me to go for it. You see these World Cup guys that are in their awesome uniforms, and you're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
You just are so stoked on it. So it's a really important event for the youth.
I don't think a lot of people know what a grind it is to actually get to the Olympics as a skier. The idea that you got to do well at nationals to get to the team. You got to do well at the team to get to the World Cup level. You got to do well at the World Cup level to then get to the Olympics. It's not like it happens overnight. There are some sports where it literally can. Skiing's just not one of them.
That's correct. Yeah, there's no you have to constantly basically prove yourself at a certain level to get to the next level and keep proving yourself. And it's brutal. I mean, you could have an injury right at the wrong spot, and then you basically set back and have to wait a year to get to that rung. But yeah, I mean, starting even at age 9 or whatever, you're trying to get to you're trying to get to junior nationals, right?
Yeah.
And then so there's the divisions are even more fine, even further down. And so to qualify for nationals is an amazing feat. It's rare air that you qualified for nationals,
to
even get there. So
do you look at this whole process of how people get to an Olympics or become elite in the sport differently now that you're the father of 2 teenage athletes?
absolutely. You see how much work goes into even getting to the lowest levels, right? When you're you see the kind of obsession it takes to sort of like
Hmm.
to just get to that little margin when everyone else, nobody even realizes what you're working on. Like it doesn't matter. It's the biggest thing in your world, and to the rest of the world, nobody's even paying attention. So yeah, I appreciate seeing the work that my kids are doing in other sports, and it makes me sort of like reflect on sort of what it took for me to get there in skiing.
Can you spot in other sports, like kind of the kids who have that thing that makes them a little different to be able to grind to be really successful in it? Like, do you see it?
Um, yeah, definitely. I can sort of pick up on, you kind of have to like type 2 fun, and that's usually what I pick up on when I'm coaching other kids, or with
Okay.
my own kids, is that you know there you kind of like have to like pain, you sort of like,
Hmm.
it's not all fun. You see people have fun,
Yeah.
it's part of it, but you got to see the fun
Define fun,
in the
right?
drill. You gotta see the fun in the iteration, in the little minute little details, and that's usually what I spot when I see kids that are excelling past a normal thing, is that they like the drills, they like the grind, they like they whether they what like is kind of um a subjective term, but they at least enjoy some part of the process of getting better at something.
Interesting. Did you have any of that? There's so much when we talk to these Olympians and Olympic hopefuls now. There's so much mindset training, and there's so much just like obviously there's the mental health component, but there's just a lot of like sports psychology that goes into it. Did you have any of that when you were growing up that you remember?
No, I mean, they never started that discipline, right, when I was at a very young age, but they did start to incorporate it on the ski team probably when I was about. I, I mean, I remember first having that conversation when I was around 20, when they started having us talk to, like, they started bringing in some specialists. And I got really serious about it in the year up to the Olympics, where they had brought a great guy on, and he sort of came to a training camp and made me sit down and talk about basically my training, take notes. He gave me some strategies for figuring out how to compete better, because that's the hardest part in that I notice in skiing versus even like soccer or running or
Hmm.
baseball, is it's 30 seconds, right? Less. And that's it. That's your shot. So you need to be ready in that moment, and you don't get it back. You don't compete the next day. You don't compete the next year. It's every 4 years. So
Yeah.
I really spent a lot of time working on like studying what worked when I did well and what worked when I didn't do well. And not just thinking about it, but writing it down, approaching it, figuring out strategies to deal with it, like to the point where I even started wearing a heart rate monitor and in practice, and figuring out, okay, which runs, at which point did I have good runs, and at where was my heart rate? And like, then I would wear it when I would compete and try to compare that data and write it down. So you start to take a more mathematical approach to your psychology, to like your ment, because they're all interconnected, right? So the idea of actually training that part of
Hmm.
performance didn't really start for me till I was 22 or 21, but it seeped in. But now I use that stuff. I teach my kids that stuff from day one, like I'm trying to always get them in that like teach them the stuff that I learned. And I think other now, obviously, kids are starting that at a much younger age as
Oh,
well.
I think it's pretty, pretty commonplace from the time they're like 10, 12. They're totally into the metrics. They know their own data and their science. How,
So,
like all these years later, does that still work for you, like in terms of just your own fitness? Because you're still super active, super fit. I'm curious to know, like, do you still take that same approach to it?
I mean, thank you, but my fitness is pathetic. I mean, it's all relative, right? Like and never get back to who I was. So brutal.
Well,
Uh,
I mean, that's not realistic,
that's
but
true. That's true. I
we
try.
all make choices as adults,
That's true.
and
That's true.
clearly you've made choices to still be able to hang with everybody, which I know you're doing. So like I'm curious to know, like, how does that mindset, like, do you ever, I'm assuming you can't really turn it off, but you still probably go at that one speed of wanting to do things a certain kind of way.
I do. I literally just ripped my calf, like pulled my calf Sunday trying to do a trick off of a jump as a promo for nationals, like a Cossack. I landed, did a punch front. I've done that punch front a million times, right? But this time I pulled my calf because I've noticed I've noticed lately this season that my right hamstring is just like so tight. And I do a ton of mostly restorative stuff now, right? Like
Uh-huh.
I still follow this same pattern where when the winter starts to roll around, I start to hammer plyometrics and I
Hmm.
still do so many of the same workouts I used to do and I add in weird devices and I do a lot of like high intensity stuff. But now, and I used to be into stretching as well, but now it's like it has to prioritize a lot of stuff. Like the yoga comes first, and otherwise I pay for it. So I use a lot of the same strategies. I'm trying to update my knowledge a lot. Like Hannah Carney, an Olympic champion,
Hmm.
she's my like go-to because my knowledge is so old. And so she helps me that along with ChatGPT helps me sort
Get
of.
out, really?
Oh my God, you don't use
Johnny
Chat.
Mosley's using Chat GPT to improve his workouts?
It's incredible. It'll like
Stop it.
design a whole program for you can be like, hey, give me a 6 week routine for getting ready for skiing that Hannah Carney would do. And it just like spits out like stuff that they used to have whole departments at the US ski team.
Yes.
It's crazy. Anyway, and they're pretty good. Like I know enough to know like if it's good or not. So anyway, but Hannah is my like go-to. She studied, she's like a fitness expert. So I'm constantly trying to learn more about like what stuff we need to do. And now it's like, is icing really good, right? And so
Yeah.
it's a battle. I feel like what to answer your question, what I use is a lot of the strategies that I used back in the day. It's not the same knowledge, but I'm
Hmm.
curious about it. I'm always trying to like figure out sports specific ways to get better. I'm always trying to figure out like how I can have more mobility. I feel like mobility
Yeah.
is such a key now that I'm that age, but that's a key for every athlete. I think I look at when I look at other sports like baseball and I look at kids and I look at my own kids, I can see like one of the things I was good at in skiing is I could see the physics of how things are
Hmm.
working and how a body moves and and why that's good for skiing and what muscles you need to engage. And I feel like I can see that in other sports too. So that I guess what I'm saying is the mentality of always trying to like figure out an asymmetric advantage through mobility or something is something I still enjoy to this day.
Isn't that, I think that's really key too to fitness as you get older is you've just got to constantly be challenging yourself. It's just the challenge changes a little bit and you got to redefine it, but there's always something new to learn.
Exactly. Exactly. That I enjoy that. Yeah.
We're about the same age. In your head, what age are you? Like what age are you?
Exactly. I mean, it's pathetic. I mean, I walk around and I'm like, oh, I'm definitely younger than that guy. And then
I know.
I'll have a conversation with him and I'll be like, oh my God, I'm freaking 5 or 10 years older than this guy. This
Oh
is
yeah.
crazy.
I
In my
know.
mind, I'm literally like, I don't know, 29. It's
I was
crazy.
gonna say 32. Mine's 32.
32? Sure. Yeah, that's me.
Yep.
That's definitely me. It's sick. I don't even know what's wrong with me. So
There's nothing wrong. I think that's
yeah,
part of like what gives us the energy also to still like find a lot of like joy in what we're doing, which is I think part of the fun, right?
that's probably true. Yeah, yeah. Definitely.
All right. So let me just like bring it back to nationals. We got like some really great events going on and also a lot of athletes who'll be trying to qualify in lots of different sports to get to the Olympic team next year. It'll be the first Olympics post pandemic. Any recommendations for those athletes as they, take on a really big year?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. The first. Oh, yeah. Because
Yeah.
Beijing was when we all stayed in Stamford,
Uh-huh.
Connecticut, and we didn't even go,
That's
and
right.
called it from there. Right. That was COVID. Dang, I didn't even put that together. Um. Oh man. Advice. No. I mean, I'm really excited that I hate to like deride any of the other Olympics. They're all great in their own way, but man, they're going to like Cortina. How cool is that?
Hmm.
Like
Gonna be
what a
beautiful.
amazing. I will give if there's any Olympians watching or people go to the Olympics. I made some
They all watch,
I
Johnny.
made
They
some
all watch
they
this.
do. I made some
Yeah.
regrettable choices. Now, I did not go to the opening ceremony in '98. And now I don't regret that one because that was a strategy to make sure I was ready. My coach had seen people go to the opening, that he knew it was like a 6 to 8 hour event, take the energy out of you. And I was like sold. I didn't come this far and because we had to train the next day, and I think we had semis the following day. But I did come home after to take advantage of all the media and stuff, and after I won, and I didn't go to closing, and so fly back. Make sure you go to closing. Enjoy that. And I kind of took that for granted. I didn't realize, but that's a party and a moment you're never gonna be able to, do ever again. So like, and then I had to miss closing in '02 as well because of Saturday Night Live and all that stuff. All good stuff. But man, yeah, try to enjoy it a little bit more than I did.
I
I
love
definitely,
that.
yeah.
That's great. And
Yeah,
how about in
and
terms
then
of
all
like,
the places you go to, like, on the way, all the little stops in between, try to spend a little extra time at each one as well. Maybe read a little bit about where you are. That I
you
think
could use Chat GPT?
way easier now. Yeah, like take exactly.
Yeah,
Use
it's not
more
that
Chat
bad.
GPT, but be careful. It's really inaccurate in some ways. Good stuff.
All right. Well, thanks for joining.
Okay, thanks.
I'm Deirdre Fitzpatrick, morning news anchor and host of Dying to Ask. My guests wrote the book, launched the product, won the race, or cracked the ultimate life hack to live bigger by living smarter. This opened up a door, and things will never be the same again. One thing I've learned is that you have to think it before you can do it. Join me for the podcast that pulls back the curtain on the people who turn big dreams into real-life success. Isn't that an awesome thing to be able to say about any career? Subscribe to Dying to Ask wherever you listen to podcasts.